I'm not too proud to admit there was a time in my life when I might wander through the produce section at the grocery store or stroll through a farmer's market and see something like this and think, oh, a fall harvest decoration. I had absolutely no clue what this was, let alone how to prepare it. This is an acorn squash. If you take a look at it, it's not too difficult to figure out where the name came from. But what do you do with it? I often talk about joining a CSA several years ago, and one day, one of these crazy looking guys ended up in my box. The next week, I got another one. So I decided it's a little early for fall harvest. I better go ahead and try to figure out what this thing is and what I can do with it. I found some recipes online, I made them, and boy, was I surprised, pleasantly surprised. This little guy is absolutely delicious, and I'm going to show you a super quick, super easy way to prepare it. After a quick bath, we're ready to cut this guy open. We're going to position this in a place where it's relatively stable. Then we're going to seek out one of these little grooves. We're going to take a nice sharp knife and wham! From there, we'll get the knife down in that slit, go down, and just start to bust this guy open. Be super careful with this step. We don't need any more injuries. I already had one yesterday. Once you open this up, you have two beautiful halves. We'll use a spoon to just scrape out these seeds. Also, you'll see a little bit of stringy flesh inside there. Let's get that out too. When you're done, your two halves should look like this. It's about 100 degrees outside today, so I'm not about to turn this oven on. I'm going to preheat my toaster oven to 350 degrees. When I cook these in the fall or winter, I usually use my super non-stick cookie sheet. This one is so non-stick, you could really go ahead and just place your squash face down like this. But we're not going to do that today because this doesn't fit in my toaster oven. Instead, we're going to be using my square baking dish, and we're going to just give that a light spray of olive oil. I'm only going to be able to fit 1/2 of my acorn squash in this glass pan, but for demonstration purposes, that's all we need. I'm going to place my squash face down in the baking dish, and this is ready to go into the preheated oven. I'll just stick the other half in this Ziploc bag, and I'll enjoy this tomorrow. Incidentally, you can use this exact same method to prepare another strange looking squash, the butternut squash. These two squash are very similar, both delicious. If you're enjoying today's video, I'd appreciate if you'd hit that like button, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel. So I've just pulled this out of the oven. I let it cook for about 20 minutes at 350, and then I turned it up to 375 and let it cook about 25 minutes more. I'm going to remove this from the pan, flip it over into my bowl. A lot of recipes that you'll see online say you should put your squash cut side up on the baking dish. I was taught to make mine cut side down, and I really like the way this comes out of the oven. This squash is a lot like having a sweet potato. If you want, you can eat it just like this. Delicious and nutritious. But I'm going to doctor mine up with just a little bit of sweet stuff. because that's how I roll. I'm going to put just a tiny bit of butter in this. Tiny bit of brown sugar. And just a little bit of agave nectar. Just look at that. You can see how tender this is. I'm going to start working the sides, getting that down into my butter, my brown sugar. Again, think sweet potato. Delicious. There's no limit to the toppings you could put on this acorn squash. Butter, brown sugar, agave nectar, honey, cinnamon. You can even make these savory, but when I'm going to do that, I like to season them before I cook them. Don't be afraid to pick up one of these crazy looking squash on your next visit to the store or the farmer's market. Bring it home, bake it, and enjoy. I hope you have a great rest of the week. Don't forget to tune in on Monday. In the meantime, keep jamming.